Hi, I'm Mato. I love chatting with my friends. I love art, painting, drawing, and sketching. I'm 12 years old, and 12 years old is a bat mitzvah, a woman, an adult in Judaism. Becoming an adult is a big milestone in which I've been trying to define over the last few months. Does it mean I can stay up however long I want? Or say whatever I think, whenever I want? Choose what and when to eat? Does it mean I get a bigger say, respect for my elders, or my own room, or a larger allowance? I have been doing a lot of reflection, and the real answer I found in my name. Mato. On BehindTheName.com, Mato means powerful, mighty. A derivative of the Yiddish name Mato, or Mordechai, the famous uncle to Queen Esther, who did not bow down to Haman. It shows courage and initiative, the power to do the right thing. It is the story of my namesake, Bubby Mato. I was born a few months after my Bubby passed away, and I'm the first grandchild to be named after her. My mother said I look just like her. I never saw her, but I heard a lot. I know she liked to sing. She was neat and tidy. She looked nice, well-made clothes. I know she had blue eyes and curly blonde hair, just like me. And so, my search began.
Her survival was a miracle, and she always used to say that if she survives the war, she will marry a Yiddish Mensch, which means she would marry somebody from. And she kept her promise, and she did.
That's the way life was, very quiet and pleasant in the small town until the war.
My Bubby's house was a very open house.
The house was not a one-room lofts weren't invented in Manhattan, they were invented in Tomashovich, where everybody had one big room and maybe they had another little room or two, and the kitchens were more or less outside, and maybe an oven in the house, and water was not running from a sink, basically, so it was all in the old style of the small Stadtlach.
My great-grandparents, the Zuckermans, according to my mother's knowledge, had a little store where they used to sell bobby pins and clips for the hair and little doodads that people needed for everyday life. I remember opening a book in the Jewish Museum called the Shtetl book, and I saw that Lubartovsky Street. I flipped out. I called my husband over. I said, Jake, look at this. This is the town my mother told me about. Lubartovsky Street is the main street in Lublin, where they used to go shopping, and all the Jewish shops were there. I guess my grandfather arranged it because he wanted his kids to know how to read from a siddur, and Aleph Beis, and a little Jewish Chumash studies, etc.
The war began.
My mother was one of 9 children. My mother was the baby in her family. They were all killed out, one by one.
How did she survive?
They used to run from house to house, and whoever took them in, that's where they would stay.
They weren't hiding in the attics or in barns. They were in the fields, and like my mother used to say, they were hiding in the forest. They were paid very nicely by my mother's father, by my grandfather. He paid everybody whatever he had.
My Bubby Mato, a story of courage. My Bubby survived.
When she was outside, she was always in a very good mood. She was very happy, she always smiled to people. You know, when she was alone, she was sad. Of course, being 4 years in hiding took a great toll on her. She was, used to be certain things that used to bother her. She didn't like to be alone. The house had to be full, and people that survived the war, many people, they used to never wanted to be without food, so they used to buy large amounts of foods that they might not have needed.
My Bubby Mato, a picture of strength.
My mother used to say, I'm not afraid of anybody, and if wherever I have to get to, I'll get to.
My Bubby Mato, a woman who loved and was loved.
She loved us very deeply because that's what she had. We were her diamonds. She had nobody else in the world.
I always heard the stories from my grandmother about how she ran from place to place, sleeping in the forest, living in an attic for weeks and months during the war. I was in awe of the determination and the willpower and the courage that allowed her to survive. I always wondered, who was that righteous family that risked their lives?
When Eliezer called, he had no clues, only a strong desire to find answers. We were at a loss, until the most unlikely source, an old file of court documents, a series of lawsuits filed in Polish court after the war. The plaintiff, Avraham Rosenstein, Matel's father, the only surviving parent, suing some of his fellow townspeople for their participation in the destruction of his family, his home, his possessions. And in the words of the witness lay the clue.
Joseph Paluch, witness. I'm a neighbor of Jan Zelinsky, the ex-mayor of Tamasovice. At the beginning of the occupation, he employed two Jews, Abram Rosenstein and his son, Srul, who lived in Tamasovice. Abram and Srul worked for the mayor until Germans ordered all of the Jews to move together. Rosenstein family did not comply with the order and went into hiding, getting help from various people from Tamasovice, including me. When Zelinsky learned about it, he told me not to help them, since if they were to be found, he, as a mayor, would be found accountable and the whole village might face repercussions.
The transcripts of the suit were astounding. It provided a glimpse into the survival story of Matil and her family. The official indictment against Jan Zelinsky, Jan Bernatek, Vladislav and Joseph Rybka.
All of the mentioned above during the German occupation were part of one band involved in murders of both Jews and Poles, as well as robbery. The same accused also sent people after Abram Rosenstein in order to kill him, took from him 1,500 zloty, as well as a lot of potatoes. The same Zelinsky in 1942 informed the Germans on where the Tamasovice people gave shelter to Jews. When the Rosenstein family took refuge, Zelinsky wanted to kill them. They begged him on their knees, and if it wasn't for Paluch taking their side, the accused would have done it.
And the most crucial information?
People from the village said that Paluch risked his life helping him.
The answer was Mr. Paluch, a righteous Gentile who had risked his life saving the family.
Dear Eliezer, today with Emil, we've been in Tomshevitz today to try to convince Jenowef's family to cooperate with us and allow us to speak to her. Our visit was a result of not getting any answer for a letter we sent to them some time ago. The letter itself described the whole story of rescuing Rosenstein family by Genowefa and her father, and expressed your gratitude and a wish to meet Genowefa. As we didn't get any answer for our letter, we decided to go there today. Unfortunately, we didn't meet Genowefa. This time it was her son who opened the door and didn't allow us to speak to his mother, claiming she slipped on the ice a few days ago and has to rest and lie in bed, although I'm afraid he just didn't want us to speak to her. Our conversation took a few minutes. They didn't want to be involved in that case anymore. We really tried to explain the great value of his mother's deeds, her heroism, but he simply was not interested. I'm really sorry. I don't understand.
He who saves one life saves an entire world. Our search is now over. Mato's legacy lives on. I think about my Bobby Mato. How did she celebrate her bas mitzvah? What was it like to live up in an attic? Afraid? And here I am today, representing the future. Bobby, with your courage, you have sustained generations.